Hey guys! Today I'm going to walk you through what I'm planning to plant in my garden this upcoming season. So something I'm getting into this year that I didn't really dabble in at all last year is flowers. So I'm planning to plant some cosmos. These are a pink variety. They're double clink, so the blooms on them are doubles. So they're going to be really full, really pretty. I'm also going to plant some nasturtium. They're an edible flower. You can eat the leaves and the flowers. I've heard that people make pesto even with leaves, and it's kind of got like a little peppery, spicy taste to it. So I'm really excited to throw some of these in the garden this year. I'm also going to plant two different types of zinnias in the garden this year. They do great here in Texas because it's so hot, and they'll just bring some color to the garden that I didn't really have this year. I'm also going to grow a little bit of lettuce. This is the Butter Crunch variety. It gets really hot really quick here, so this is going to be springtime, and once it gets in the 90s, this is going to go. But I always like having fresh greens all year round. I have some yellow radishes. I'm planning on planting these. I haven't seen yellow ones in person before, so I'm really excited to get these in the garden, get them growing, see what they taste like. I don't know if they're going to be spicy or more mild. I'm going to do two different varieties of cucumbers this year. Last year I only did one variety, so this year I'm going to do some pickling cucumbers. I'm hoping I can get some pickles out of these. So I'm planning on planting basically 3 square feet of these, so we'll see. This is also a new variety to me. These are a market cucumber. They're supposed to be really good in hot, humid environments like we have here in Houston. So I'm hoping not to get as much powdery mildew with this variety. I'm planning on planting 2 varieties of okra. Last year I only planted the Clemson spineless, which is your traditional green okra. So I'm excited to plant some of those again because they were super prolific. But I'm also going to mix it up this year and plant some red burgundy okra. Tastes the same, and when you cook it, it turns green, but it's fun to see something different and unique in your garden. Summer squash. Okay, this year I'm dedicating an entire bed to squash. We have a bug here. It's called the squash vine borer, and it kicked my butt last year. So this year I'm dedicating an entire bed to squash. I'm going to put insect netting over it and hope that I can keep that bug from attacking my squash this year. I'm going to have to hand pollinate, but I don't mind that as long as I get squash. So I'm going to do a yellow summer squash. This is an early variety of squash, so this will be the first squash that I have that's going to be producing blooms, and so it'll just be nice to have something in the ground first that's going to be producing squash way before my other stuff. I'm also planting this Italian zucchini. It's supposed to be a little bit more mild, a little bit more nutty than your traditional dark green zucchini you see. So I'm excited to grow this one this year. Also planting some patty pan squash. I mean, these are just cool looking, right? You don't see these at the grocery store. Usually you have to find these at like farmer's market or Trader Joe's, but they're really, really good. You can't plant summer squash without planting winter squash. I know you're thinking winter squash in the spring, summer, that doesn't sound right. Well, they call it winter squash because you plant it in the spring and summer, and it can keep all winter long. So I picked these up. These are a honey boat squash. I've had a couple of these this fall, and they were really, really yummy. You can roast them, cut them up, throw them in soups, put them on a salad. I just love squash, so this one I'm excited for. I'm also going to plant some spaghetti squash. If you've never made spaghetti squash before, it's a game changer. You cut it in half, throw it in the oven, bake it. You can even microwave it. And then once you do that, you take your fork, you scrape the inside, and it pulls apart like spaghetti. So this is a great pasta substitute. This is butternut squash. It was really good. This was the most resistant squash I had in my garden last year to squash vine borer. So I'm hoping even with it covered, I'll have better luck this year than I even did this past garden season. Because it is so hot here, peppers do great. So I'm excited to start peppers really early this season. I'm gonna start them actually indoors in a couple of weeks. And so some of the pepper varieties I'm planning on planting are your sweet bell peppers. These are varieties, so you're gonna have, you know, your greens, your yellows, your orange, and your red. So I'm excited for these. I'm also gonna be growing a couple of shishito peppers. I think it's 1 in 10 pepper is spicy, the rest are mild, so when you cook them, you kind of don't know what you're gonna get, and it kind of makes it fun. Next pepper I'm gonna grow are cayenne peppers. I like heat. I don't know if I like enough heat for having multiple cayenne peppers, but we're gonna try it. I've seen where people put them in vinegar and they make a hot sauce, so there's different things you can do. You can also make your own red pepper flakes, so there's different ways you can use it besides just having a hot pepper in something. I'm also going to be growing jalapenos. These do great every year. If you're not growing jalapenos, you need to. We still have some that I canned and we're still eating, but you cannot not have jalapenos. The next variety that I'm going to get into is tomatoes. So last year I only grew cherry tomatoes, which is kind of strange for anyone who gardens because usually people grow tons and tons and tons of tomatoes. But I'm not a huge tomato person. You know, if it's in a recipe, it's good. You know, if I can chop up a couple cherry ones and throw them in something, I'm fine. But I don't usually just like want a big beefsteak tomato. But I'm gonna get into it a little bit more this year. So the first variety is gonna be some Roma tomatoes. I'm gonna grow a couple of these. These are your traditional tomato that you're gonna make salsas with, pasta sauce, pizza sauce, all the things you see everyone using to can. These are the tomato you want for that. So I'm really excited to get a couple of these, dabble in some recipes and can some of my own stuff. One of the varieties of cherry tomatoes I'm gonna grow this year is called Cherry Falls. They do really well in hanging baskets, and I mean, they're pretty. So I'm gonna grow a couple of these, put them in some hanging baskets, see how they do, not in a raised bed, just on their own. So I'm excited. Okay, I'll be honest. These just look cool. These are called green zebra tomatoes. This is what they look like fully ripe. Yep, they're green, yellow, they're striped. They don't turn red, they stay green. They're a medium-sized tomato, so something you can quickly chop up, throw some salt and pepper on it, and have it as a snack. The next cherry tomato I'm gonna grow is called the yellow pear tomato. I hear tons of people rave about how great these are, how sweet they are. I've never had them, so I'm excited to try these. This is the biggest tomato I'm growing this year. This is called the black crim. It's an heirloom tomato. They're beautiful when you cut them open. I don't know how much I'm gonna like these. I don't know if I'm gonna be making tomato sandwiches, but they just look pretty. So I'm excited to grow a couple of these. Okay, I grew 2 different varieties of green beans last year. I did a bush variety and a pole variety. They were so easy. I'm hoping I have that same luck this year because I'm really expanding what I'm growing. So the first one, I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it. It's a speckled green bean. It's a bush variety still, but it's pink and white. You can eat these fresh. You can also let them mature till you can get like a full pod, and then you can de-seed them, and the pods on them are really speckled and really cute. Don't know how they taste, but okay, the cuteness got me on these. The next variety I'm gonna grow is called a golden wax bean. It's a wax bean variety. People make like dilly beans with them. I don't know, they look cute. And I just wanted to change up what all I was growing in the beans. Okay, 2020, I swear, was the year of the dragon tongue beans. I didn't have any seeds. They were sold out. When they finally came back in stock, I was like, okay, I have to have them. They're a green bean, they're a bush variety, but they're, you know, just unique looking. They do turn completely green when you cook them, so you kind of lose the special factor on them once they're cooked. But I mean, anything with purple is just so cute. These are Kentucky Wonder pole beans. I grew these last year. I still have more seeds, so I'm gonna grow more of these again, trellis them. These are super prolific. I grew them towards the end of summer as like a second crop of them, and they did really well. The last variety I'm gonna do is a royal burgundy bush bean. They're a purple green bean. Same thing, when you cook them, they turn completely green. But I think it'll just be really easy as you're harvesting these to find them because they're purple, so they'll stand out. I know with the traditional green beans, you go in one day, you harvest a bunch of green beans, and I swear you go out the next day and you're like, how did I miss this? So I'm hoping with something purple, it will stick out a little bit more. And the last thing I'm growing are melons. Melons take up a ton of space, so I do have smaller varieties than like, 20-pound watermelon. So I'm gonna try to trellis most of these to hang them up to try to keep them as contained as possible. So the first variety is a cantaloupe variety. It only gets 2 to 3 pounds, so it's gonna be great for trellising. The second one is a canary melon. These also stay pretty small. I have tried these before. They are really good. They're really sweet. So I'm excited to get a couple of these in the garden. And the last variety is the sugar baby watermelon. These are the cutest watermelon ever. They take 80 days to mature, so they're quicker to mature than like your traditional watermelon that are huge. These are also supposed to be the sweetest watermelons. So I'm really, really excited to get a couple of these going in the garden. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you next one, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll plant with you later. If you like this kind of video and you want to see more garden stuff, please make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks.